Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another In the OT podcast for BetHubb Sports Blog.com. We are all so excited as the NBA Finals is about to get underway as we have a very highly anticipated matchup with the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Miami Heat. These were the two prohibitive favorites in the league heading into this year. They were both favored to come out of their conferences, and that is exactly what has occurred here. The odds makers have installed the Oklahoma City Thunder as a minus 150 series favorite, and I think that is an accurate number as they should be favored based on what occurred last round when they absolutely took care of business, beating what appeared to be an impossible feat, defeating the San Antonio Spurs 4 games in a row after they had won 20 consecutive games. And boy, oh boy, was I wrong in my series prediction there. I thought what we had saw in the first 2 games was what was going to be the outcome in the series. You got the veteran Spurs. You believe that Tony Parker can regulate Westbrook. You believe that San Antonio has a little bit more size in the paint with Duncan and his skill set. You believe that Popovich is a better coach than Scott Brooks. You believe the seasoned veterans would be able to find a way. No, not a chance. The youth, the athleticism, and the straight-up scoring ability of Oklahoma City took over, and Game 6 was one of the most impressive performances I've seen in my lifetime in basketball. Down 18 points to come back and win that game. And it's not like they were down 18 and it took till the final few minutes to complete the comeback. I mean, we're talking about instantly, within 5-6 minutes in the third quarter, the game was already tied. So it just goes to show how explosive this Oklahoma City team is, and that's why I believe that they will end up being victorious here against the Miami Heat, who I did have pegged to win the Eastern Conference. And even though I had them beating the Boston Celtics, I will admit that my read on the series was incorrect. I thought they'd have a little bit more control in the series. I never saw them trailing in the series, and I never saw them having that much struggle. So even though my record's been pretty good in the NBA playoffs with only 3 series as being incorrect, I'm not going to go too crazy because, basketball, so the favorites generally win anyways, so let's not call myself a hero. But nonetheless, I do believe that I have a good understanding of these teams and the way it all breaks down. So I will go ahead and take the Oklahoma City Thunder to win the NBA championship. It will not come easily, and it definitely would not shock me if Miami won. And I'll go out there and say that this series is going to go 7 games. And the reason why I think Oklahoma City will end up winning this series here has a lot to do with the fact that it's just so much easier for them to score. You saw that against San Antonio. You saw that against the Lakers and in Dallas. There's times where, maybe they're not fully in perfect fluid motion with their offense going, but they just somehow just pick it up and keep going. I find that Miami has a harder time keeping up scoring momentum throughout a game. They go on far more lulls. They rely way too much on the isolation, single plays, just putting the ball in the hands of a LeBron or a Wade. Their ball movement isn't as good, and when you have a good athletic defense like the Oklahoma City Thunder, it's going to be a lot harder for those buckets to go down, especially when you factor in the defense of Oklahoma City, where sure they give up a lot of points, but that's because of the pace they play at. A better stat to look at them defensively is they rank 10th in the league in terms of points per possession, which is a far more important number in my opinion. And when you look at Serge Ibaka down low in the paint, and you look at Kendrick Perkins, you have 2 outstanding defenders from a help perspective and one-on-one. So even if Wade and LeBron are able to break you down off the dribble, there's tremendous support defense that I don't think that Boston necessarily had with the size and athleticism down there that could potentially create some problems for them, because we know that Miami's not a good jump shooting team, and if they get denied in the paint, it's going to force them to get out of rhythm, and I just see them having problems. Whereas Oklahoma City, they can beat you both ways, whether it's Westbrook, Durant, or Harden. All of them can beat you off the dribble, and maybe not Westbrook so much, but in particular Durant and Harden, they can kill you from the outside. So there's more versatility there, which gives them better opportunities to shoot the basketball and have more options scoring. So that's why I do like Oklahoma City. I think they're a bit more diverse there. Now, I'm not going to come out here and say Durant's a better player than LeBron James. LeBron James is more complete. He's a better defensive player. He's a better shot blocker. He passes the ball better. He does a little bit more of everything. But nonetheless, when you talk about who the best pure scorer in the game is, you've got to give the nod to Durant here, because he is the best one-on-one offensive player And when it comes down to hitting tough shots at the end of games, I want the ball in his hand, not LeBron, who settles way too much for the outside jumper when he should be putting the ball on the floor and going to the paint and drawing fouls. And even if he draws them, we see his struggles at the free throw line as well. So I think you have a huge advantage in close games for the ball to be going in the hands of Oklahoma City players. You've just seen it in the playoffs. They seem to come away in all these close games. And for the last few years, Miami, when the games get tight at the end, they never seem to make the right shot selections and end up coming up on the wrong end. So that's why I think at the end of the day here, I do favor Oklahoma because they have a little bit more options in terms of the way they score. I think that it's a huge advantage having Harden come off the bench. Ibaka can extend the floor a little bit with his jump shots. Alosha is playing terrific defense right now. He should be able to maybe guard Wade or LeBron on the perimeter and try to slow them down a little bit. And then also, when I think about Miami from a defensive standpoint, they're going to have to exert so much energy, LeBron, Wade, Battier, to try to contain these Oklahoma offensive players that it's going to take away from some of their offensive ability. It's going to take something out of their legs, which is going to hinder their jump shooting ability late in games. And when you think about teams that push the pace, there's nobody better to do that than this Oklahoma City Thunder basketball team. So I think that also plays into their favor as well. And they've been so dominating on their home floor. I find it hard to believe that they're going to lose any games, if not more than one, whereas Miami's been very average on the road, especially against good teams throughout this year in the playoffs and dating back to the regular season. They're just a 500 team at best, so there's nothing to get too excited about over there, whereas Oklahoma City's shown more of a tenacity and ability to win on the road. So even though Miami might be a bit better defensively, I think Oklahoma's a little bit more well-rounded. They've got a better style in terms of offense. It's going to help them have more opportunities to score. And home court's huge here in the playoffs. Don't kid yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. This Thunder crowd is insane at home, and Miami's just not that good on the road. From an odds maker's perspective, I'm going to be staying away from it right off the bat. I find that this is too difficult of a series to peg right now. I do lean to the Heat getting actually all those points on the road. I think the line's inflated. The total's right where it has to be right now. If anything, I'd lead under in the first few games, and then as it opens up, as the series goes on, maybe look to some overs if we can get some low totals in the 190s. But the first game generally is lower scoring. It's going to be tighter, a bit more nerves, a couple more bricks being fired up. So once again, OKC in 7. It's going to be a beauty series. Chad here with another In the OT podcast, BetHubbSportsBlog.com.